Hello and welcome. This is Brandon Wendell, Chartered Market Technician, and I'm going to do some analysis here on cryptocurrencies, some of the more popular ones. So hopefully I cover one of the ones you're looking at, and let me know if you enjoyed the video by hitting like as well as subscribe so you get updates on new videos I'll be posting on a weekly basis. Starting off here with the granddaddy of them all, Bitcoin, and we see that we had a massive pullback here in price and are starting to climb back out of the hole. The positive news is we never went into bearish territory on the weekly chart. So there's nothing really here on the weekly chart that I'm concerned with, but definitely didn't see us go bearish. On the daily chart, we absolutely went bearish, and we're climbing out of the hole. Now, what we need to do is get above 60 for the momentum to be able to continue to make new highs. We are not in a bullish trend yet. We have simply broken the bearish trend. I want to stress that because it's two different things, being in a bullish trend versus just breaking the bearish. Breaking the bearish means we made a higher high because a bearish trend is lower highs and lower lows. But should you make a higher high, you are no longer in a bearish trend, which we broke out of right there. But we did not make a higher low yet. So we still need a pullback to give us a higher low with the RSI staying above 40 to be in a true bullish trend to continue to rally. So if we do that, we'll be watching to see what happens with our trend. We do have daily supply. Looks like we got it about 57,000 for our next daily supply. It doesn't mean that that's the only place it's going, but that's the initial daily supply that I'm seeing on the chart. And let's see, what's the low here? 636 the close, 615 it's lower. So don't really have any good zones up there. I mean, we could continue to make some new highs if we can get bullish on the trend again. As far as demand goes, off the lows, we kind of formed a little drop-based rally demand zone right there. So we'll see if we pull back to that 46,858, but that would be a good bouncing point. That would also give us the higher low before the higher high in the bullish trend. So if we can pull back, like I said, if we get this kind of price action where we pull back into the 46,858 and at the same time the RSI stays above 40, that'd be a great buying opportunity for Bitcoin as it should rally very sharply from that area then. If it goes below 40, then don't buy. Basically, demand will not stand if you're below 40. That's the saying I have. So keep an eye out for that. We could end up going lower and resuming the bearish trend at that point. But overall, this looks like it should be able to turn around and continue higher at this point. We go down to the 4-hour time frame, just get some more detail. And we actually have a higher demand zone, which would be kind of nice. On the daily, that would give us the higher low that we're looking for. Drop, base, and rally. So that will give us our higher low for the bullish trend. You can see we're definitely bullish here. We've already made higher low and higher high. So we shouldn't actually go below this low to this daily demand zone. If we're going to continue to be in the bullish trend, our low should be at 48,553 to 48,042. We shouldn't go lower than that. So if we do go to that daily demand, that would actually suggest that we're going to become more bearish in trend. Because again, we'd be breaking some lows here. But if we hold this low, things are looking pretty good for Bitcoin at that point, and I'm a big-time buyer at that level, I think. Again, as long as the RSI is also above 40. So we're running into a little bit of supply right now, and this may be the turn that we're expecting to get down to that demand. We have drop, base, drop right here. Oh, what did I just do? I popped it down to the wrong chart. Don't know how I get that out. There we go. Figuring out new things on the platform all the time. Anyway, let's see, that was the daily supply. This is a lot of basing here, but that's the origin of the selling pressure on the 4-hour time frame, and that'd be your next target. Not a great zone, but again, we're hitting this, coming close to the 52,085, which is a daily supply, 4-hour supply, and well, we're not diverging. We're almost at the same high, if not a little higher than we were before. So it'll be interesting to see if we stall here. I wouldn't trade this on the short side. What I would look for, though, is, again, I'm looking to buy if we pull back to 48553. Let's see, that go above? No, that's about it. So 48585 or 48553, that area I'm looking to buy. And then my target would actually be 56,351. So what I'm anticipating price is doing is kind of poking into this zone, pulling back, forming the higher daily low before continuing up to that next area of supply. And that's what I'd like to play is the buy opportunity here. So I'll be watching for that. If we drop down into a 60-minute time frame on Bitcoin, it doesn't really change much. We can fine-tune the zone just a little bit here. You can see that I can get that down just a bit. Rally, base, base, and rally. 48,662 to 48,475. That's a really good buying opportunity. We may be forming a new zone here, but with the selling pressure that's coming in already, I don't see it. We're still pretty bullish. Maybe we just pause here and continue through this supply zone. Maybe we don't turn around. I have no idea what's going to happen, but the probability is that we should continue to see bullish activity on crypto, specifically Bitcoin. And usually where this goes, most everything goes as well. We do have a zone of supply. It's a little bit higher here if we wanted to use the smaller time frame zone. On the 1 hour, it's actually 52,774. And then we actually have some other overhead targets along the way that could cause some disruption in price action. Ultimately, I think the daily supply is the great target, but in the meantime, there's other targets here along the way. If you're able to buy at that 48,000 area that I initially was mentioning, 48,662, before we continue to rally up, 1, 2, 3 targets right there. So that's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. We can move over to Ethereum and see what's going on there. Again, start off with the weekly time frame, and I'll clean up my chart. Awesome. And looking at this time frame, we don't see really anything. I mean, we made a new high, pulled back a little bit, no big deal. Go to the daily chart. Refresh my chart here. There we go. And the nice thing was, even on this big spike down, none of these pullbacks put us below 40 on the RSI. So it's all pretty bullish. And if we do pull back anymore, I don't know, it might be a smaller time frame trade that we see the demand zone on, because the daily demand, well, this one was poked through right here. And the next fresh demand would be at the bottom of the move down here. I just don't see us pulling back that much. We're already trying to snap this high, and we already did, actually. We made a new high. So again, we're not in a bearish trend anymore. We are changing. So we're sideways. We're not officially in a bullish trend until we pull back and make a higher low. As far as overhead supply targets, we don't have anything that's fresh. I'm seeing that, well, maybe it hasn't tested yet. That's the daily supply of 45.14. So I'll go down to the 4 hour time frame, see if there's any kind of fine tuning of zones. We do have a daily demand zone right here, drop base rally. We also have a, nope, that doesn't work. Got overhead supply areas. I'm going to change the color of the higher time frame one just so I don't get confused with them or confuse anybody. There we go. That's higher time frame. That's higher time frame. Perfect. Anyway, looking at the lower time frame, that one's already been violated anyway, that demand. You can see that we could fine tune that as well if we wanted to, from the daily down to the 4 hour. But again, we already poked through that on that one big violent move down. There is a demand zone that's a little bit higher here, as you can see. There we go. Put that back to, that was the higher time frame. So we do have 30.29 as a 4 hour demand zone that if we pull back, we might be hitting. If we do pull back, there's actually, like I said, the higher area here, 39.49, that I would expect prices to hold up. We've got a nice bullish trend here. There's no reason for it to pull back much. And if we may just get a little bit of a pullback that we're already experiencing here, we've got kind of a flag formation as we stalled out at this high. But the RSI is too bullish. So it's just a temporary setback for price before it continues higher, I think. So we moved in, we were way above 60. We moved up there again. We're getting a little bit of weakness. So I think either we're just going to kind of do a flag formation where we just go a little sideways before we break out and hit the 43.44. Or if we do pull back, we bounce at 39.49. That gives you a great opportunity to go long, targeting the 43.44 area. But I don't see this turning around and going down much more anytime soon. It looks like we're overall bullishness being sought in Ethereum. Dropping down to the 60-minute. I'll have to check the Ethereum too, but I think it'll be about the same chart. Yeah, nothing changed. Same area demand here on the 1 hour. You've got the 39.49 that I'm looking at. Again, lots of sideways basing, waiting for the breakout either direction. most likely to the upside, although there's a little bit of weakness creeping in. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, overall, I'm looking at a pullback to 39.50 to be a great buying opportunity to target 43.50 area. On to Ripple. I'll start off on the weekly chart real quick. Oops, refresh that. And Ripple is just going sideways. It's consolidating in price, making lower highs. Actually made a lower low last, but we're not in a bearish trend by any means. If I go down to a daily chart, we're kind of hitting a daily supply zone right now and pulling back. But if we make another run for it, it should break. Actually, that could be a retest of a prior area as well. But you see that we had a lot of momentum as we hit that area. This is just a correction before we continue higher. On the daily chart for Ripple, there is a demand zone here, rally-based rally off the 84-cent area that should be able to carry us higher to our next zone, which is all the way up here at $1.17. If I drop down into the 4-hour time frame to fine-tune this area, we actually may not even make it that low. We'll have to see. I forgot what it was for the trend. Yeah, still bullish now. We broke out of the bearish trend. We went into bullish territory. So I go down that 4-hour time frame, and it looks as though we've got a possible demand area here for buying at 90.46. So this area is going to be toast right there. We should be able to bounce again from the 90.46 area up to 117. There's not, unless there's overhead supply that starts forming. And there is one that's starting to form. It hasn't quite formed here. You got drop, base, drop, but it's not really strong, so I would kind of ignore that. But if I'm looking to buy Ripple at 90 cents, let's see where it's going to. Well, we got a little bit of overhead supply right here. Oh, wait. Yeah, rally, base, drop. Tested once, so it might be a little bit weaker. If we keep going, there's really nothing until we hit this area again, at 117. So I'm really digging that as a good target overall. And I guess we have rally-based drop right here too. Don't want to ignore that. So a few possible targets. Basically looking for a pullback right now to 90.46, 87.84, maybe down to the higher time frame zone that was the 84 area before we bounce up to 102, 110, or even up to 117. One of the main things I want to look for is when we come down to that demand zone, we need to be above 40. If we're below 40, demand will not stand. If we're above 40, then we should get a bounce off that area, that demand zone. So that's a key thing to keep in mind. Again, you look for the RSI to be above 40. If it's below there, it's not going to work. So keep that in mind as we pull back to those areas. Watch for that. And we can take a look at Cardano. On Cardano, we broke out, looks like. Go to a weekly chart here and refresh. Forgot what I had marked off there, but this is still pretty bearish. We went all the way down below 40 on the RSI, so any kind of bounce is likely just to be a little dead cat bounce, so to speak, before we go lower. We did hit this daily demand, or weekly demand, but again, it doesn't look very strong here. So I go down to the daily chart. There's the consolidation I was mentioning. It was a descending triangle. In my last video, I think I talked about it breaking to the upside because they usually slope the opposite direction they break. And sure enough, it broke up. So there you go. We moved up. But we didn't get above 60 on the RSI, which is still very bearish. I'm not sure if this is a daily demand. Let me take a look back. Nope. It's a smaller time frame demand. So let's go down to that 4-hour chart and see what's going on there. As we broke out, we left behind demand. We got rally-based rally right there. Not the best of zones right there, though. One right here, rally-based rally a little bit below. So if we come back and retest, that may be a buying opportunity. The trend on the daily is not very strong, but we're still moving up. So as far as daily supply, I don't really have anything great as far as candidates there. It makes me hesitant to want to buy Cardano because I'm not seeing lots of strength on the trend here. On the 4-hour trend, it's looking strong, but now we have a pullback we're contending with, and it'll be interesting to see. We should be able to hold these demand zones. Again, same rule with the RSI. We should be able to stay above 40 for buying opportunities. I'm going to get rid of this for now. And I don't see it collapsing through all of these demand zones right away. Let's see, the high there is 26.43.19, 26.32, so that's higher. Wait, 26.43, 26.32. No, it's lower. That's good. That means it's inside. So that is a zone. So we've got these zones to contend with, and one of these is likely to cause us to bounce up a little bit more. Let's see where our target's going to be if we get a bounce here. Because I don't see us turning down right away. I see us still correcting a bit more up into the, well, that's the same zone, the 165 area. That's it. So if you get an opportunity to buy looking at this 135 area, one of these zones, 135, 130, or 126, you're targeting 165 as your first target on Cardano. I can go down to a 60-minute time frame, but I don't think I'm going to see anything much different. Yeah, maybe a little bit different here. Let me erase this real quick and go into this as a demand zone, rally-based rally, a little higher, 137.87. But watch for the RSI. It looks like we might end up being below 40, and if we are, then that's not going to hold. So I'll bring those lines back, and I'll just stick with that 4-hour time frame, I think. I don't really care for that hourly, but we can check to see if there's anything else along the way as far as supply. And there's a couple little stumbling blocks we may run into, but again, on the 4-hour chart, really just focus on the big picture there. If we do pull back, there is a supply zone here at 151.28 that we can keep an eye out for. Last but not least, Solana. I start off again on the big picture and refresh that. And we got a little bit of weakness after a divergence on the weekly chart, as you can see. We pulled back, no big deal. Go down to the daily time frame. And let me start off with a clean chart here. You can see we pulled, tried to rally up off these lows. We never really formed a strong bearish trend, and we are not really forming a bullish trend, although maybe we got higher high, higher low. No supply zones nearby, nothing to really mark for any kind of trade. If I go down to the 4-hour time frame, we do have demand here that we can look for if we get a pullback. It looks like we're still continuing up with a lot of strength, though. I don't see any kind of weakness as of yet. And let me go ahead and look for no supply. Look at that. There's just nothing right nearby to hold us down. So we've got potential here to keep moving up on Solana, which has been a big gainer for quite some time, although it did give a lot back. It just looks like it wants to keep going. So if anything, I can possibly use some Fibonacci extensions. If I go down to the daily time frame here, we had kind of a rally off the lows, the correction, and our extension. We're stalling at the first level. Our next target would be 209 if we pull back to 181. If I go down to the 60-minute time frame here, I can fine-tune that just a little bit more. Maybe. Nope, actually doesn't work. I got to keep it where it is. So I'll stick with that 4-hour time frame. Look for a pullback, if we get any, to 181, with, again, the target being the 209. So that's what I've got for the cryptos. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you wouldn't mind giving me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I will see you next time. Until then, trade safe, trade well, and happy holidays, everyone.